This video will explore a variety of resources available for researching a specific topic. I will not go in depth, but rather will provide a brief overview of each resource and how it can be used for the research topic, as well as discussing some of the pros and cons of each. Our research goal today will be to find information about Japanese woodblock printing, particularly of the ukiyo-e genre. When a more specific search is needed, Utagawa Hiroshike's Evening Snow at Kanbara will be used. While Wikipedia generally can't be cited in papers and assignments, it can be a useful starting point when you don't know a lot of background information about your topic. So we're just going to do a quick search, which brings us to the home page for woodblock printing. From here we can learn that it is also called mokuhanga. It is known for the ukiyo-e artistic genre. We can also learn some of the history and important dates. If we scroll down to the very bottom of a Wikipedia page, you can look at the references section, further reading, and external links to find sources that can be cited and are likely more reputable than a Wikipedia page. Now, we also want to know about our artist, so we're going to go to his Wikipedia page. And from here, we learn that he is referred to by two names, Utagawa Hiroshike and Ando Hiroshike. We learn the dates of his life. And we also can scroll down and look at some of his better-known works, such as The 53 Stations of Tokaido, 100 Famous Views of Edo, things that might pop up in our research. And again, if you go down to the bottom, you can use the references section to help you find some more sources. Now that we have some background info, we're going to use some of the UA databases to see if we can find some more reliable information. So from the Libraries page, we click on Databases, and since we are researching an art topic, we select Art from the subject. We are going to start out in ArtStore, which is a really great database with lots of high-resolution images of art pieces. So after you click on it from the Databases page, you have to click Enter. And you can do either search or browse. We're going to start out browsing by geography, since we are looking for works from a particular region. And we scroll on down to Japan. And we're looking for prints. So as you can see, we get over 4,000 results this way, but not all of them are woodblock prints. Some of them are not really what we're interested in, so let's try a search. And you can see using the search option you have a little bit more options in terms of limiting. Up here we have a timeline where you can limit by date, you can sort by classification or by region. And so here we have a goodly number of results, and just by serendipity it looks like the piece that we're researching is right here, so let's take a look at it. If we double click on the image, it opens in a new window. Sometimes it takes a moment. Now, one of the things I really like about ArtStore is that you can zoom in really far, and if you give it a moment, it'll give you a really high resolution version of the image. You can practically see the paper grain of that. So if you want to get a really close look of an art piece, ArtStore is a really great place to look. And you can also save the image, although you don't get quite the resolution when you save it. One of the interesting things about woodblock prints is that since they are prints, there's often more than one version of the same image. So let's try searching the title of this one and see if we can find more. Now we have two versions. Let's find out what happens when we search the artist's name. A number of results, but if we scroll down, we see that we have another version of this image under a different name and a different spelling of the place. So why don't we try a search, Hiroshige, Kanbara with an N, or Kanbara with an M. And here you see that we get 7 different versions of the same image. So when you're researching something that's been transcribed from a foreign language, sometimes it's important to be mindful of alternative spellings. Now that we've got some images in our mind, let's see if we can find some scholarly information about the topic. We are back on that Art Subject Databases page from the UA libraries, and we're going to click on Art and Architecture Complete. And from here, we're just going to try our basic search. Japanese woodblock prints, and see what we get. We get 136 results. Some of them are pretty focused though. Some of them are out of the scope of our research. So let's try adding our artist's name. Okay. So we're now down to 5 results. And some of these are pretty good, and some of these are not so great. But what I'm doing now is I'm looking at these subject headings on the decent looking articles. And now we're going to try a subject search. So I type in one of my subject headings, and I select subject from the search field. And we're also going to type in, since that is also a subject term, and that is the genre of our artist. Okay. This might be relevant, has some background information, but using the subject terms you can really sort of narrow down your search. Let's try adding the author's name. So we get a little bit of stuff, but some of our results are not great, and it would be really nice if there were more information. Since what we found in Art and Architecture Complete was a little bit too focused for our needs and wasn't quite on topic, we're going to try a different approach. We're back on the UA databases page, and we're going to click History from the subject box, since our topic can also be looked at from a historical standpoint. And we're going to click on the Bibliography of Asian Studies. Now this database doesn't have any full text. It's an index, which means it can point you towards books and articles, which you can then search out through your library's catalog or get through interlibrary loan. It's really good on helping you find resources on a very specific topic. So I've got one loaded here, and we're just going to do a general search. And search. This search gave us 47 results. Scanning down the list of titles, it looks like a lot of them are much more general in scope than the ones that we got through Art and Architecture Complete, and they may be a little bit more helpful to our research in finding background information that we can cite. As you can see looking at the left-hand pane as well, we also have a number of limiters from which we can choose, including the type of the source, the subject, the language, the publication date, so if you have specific guidelines for an assignment, those could be very helpful. I've opened a pane here where we limit the search to books. As you can see, a lot of the results are the same, but it's simply a nice option to have. And if we search for our artist's name, then we also get a number of results that could be very helpful. Some of his artistic techniques, some information on a school he founded. As you can see, we're getting much better results through this database than we did through the more general art one. And if you want to use a source, you can click on Find It at Your Library, and it will automatically bring you to the University of Alabama page. Now the library may or may not have it, but you always have the option of requesting a resource through interlibrary loan. Now we're going to take a look at some of the resources that are available for free online about Japanese woodblock prints. This is JSTOR. While JSTOR is a paid database, you can also access it as a free user. You simply don't have access to all of the content. We're going to do our typical search, and we get 1900 results. Now, these little X's here mean that we don't actually have access to the content. We can only see the citation. However, that can still be useful, because as you can see, a lot of what we are getting are book reviews. Many of them are reviewing some of the same books we found in the Bibliography of Asian Studies. So we can use the free version of JSTOR in much the same way that we use the Bibliography of Asian Studies to get titles and authors of books that we can then get through the library or through interlibrary loan. While ArtStore is wonderful, it is a paid database, and it can be nice to have a free alternative. This is ukiyo-e.org, which is a free website that archives images of Japanese woodblock prints. If you scroll down, you can see that they have sort of a visual timeline of the evolution of woodblock prints, which can be fascinating to look at. But for now, we're going to start with the search of our artist's name. As you can see, we get quite a number of results. One of the things I love about this particular site is that when you click on a result, it gives you a large selection of different versions of the same print. So if you're doing exhaustive research and comparing different versions or the variations that can be done with different uses of color, this can be very helpful. Another interesting feature of ukiyo-e.org is that it allows you to compare images you already have to images it has in its database, either by uploading a file or by pasting the URL. This is useful if you find an image online and are not sure of the artist or the title and want to find out more information about it. Here's an image I found through Google. In this case, we already know the artist and the title, but we're just going to use it to test the feature. So we copy the image URL and paste it into the image URL search bar, and we'll see if this site can bring it up. Here at the top is the image it scooped up from the URL we gave it, and as you can see underneath, it found a number of matches. If we click on any of these, then it brings back the artist, the title of the piece, and the date. I think it's a pretty nifty feature. Another good free resource you can use online is the website of the Metropolitan Museum of Art at metmuseum.org. If you click on the Learn link at the top of the page, you can access resources relating to their extensive collections, which provide background information. We're going to click on the Heilbrunn Timeline of Art History. As you can see, you can explore things based on time period or by thematic essay categories. We'll click on Asian art, and from here, limit the search to Japan. There are quite a number of essays here, many of which might provide relevant background information, but what we're really interested in is the woodblock print in the ukiyo-e style. Not only does the website provide an overview, but they also provide a citation list from which you could do more reading, as well as a list of other articles written by the Met with PDFs. Of course, in addition to their very well organized browse functionality, we can also search the website, so let's see if we can find anything else about our artist. Here's an entry in the Artist Index, and from here we can see that they have articles on 3 of his works, including the one that we're researching, as well as some recommended thematic essays that may be relevant. So let's look at Evening Snow at Kanbara, since that's the work we're focusing on. Here's a short essay discussing the work, as well as some links to other related essays, and some index terms that may also lead us to more relevant resources. One last free website I'd like to share with you is asianart.org, which has a fairly good selection of educational materials. If we click on the Education tab at the top, it will take us to the page from which we can navigate to them. Their main browse functionality is through geography, so if we click on Japan and click Background Information as our resource type, it will bring us to this page. This website would be particularly helpful for educators because it has each resource broken down into the grade levels for which they're most appropriate. If we scroll down a bit, we can see that they have an artist profile for our particular artist. And if we take a look at that, we can see that they have a short biography of him. However, as they don't provide any citations, it wouldn't be quite as helpful as a springboard for further research as some of the other sources we've looked at. Let's go back to that browse page. If we go back and choose lesson or activity instead of background information, we get some different results. These are lesson plans, also broken down by grade level. They even have one for creating a simulated woodblock print. I think it's pretty neat that they have hands-on activities and could be worthwhile for someone teaching middle or high school. As you can see, there are a number of quality resources, both free and paid, for researching Japanese woodblock prints. This presentation has only touched on a small number of them. I hope you found it informative. Any questions?